Today is the last day of testimony in the Lindsay Clancy trial, with closing arguments expected as soon as tomorrow.
Now, earlier, a forensic psychologist, testified that Clancy had a, quote, moral awareness about the wrongfulness of killing her children, as the prosecution tried to shut down the idea that Clancy was going through psychosis at the time.
Yesterday, tensions, Vicky, flaring inside of the courtroom after that same psychologist said that he spoke with Lindsay Clancy about her Catholic faith and her views on suicide.
When I asked her about that, when I said, isn't suicide a mortal sin?
Yeah, I see counsel over here.
The defense then filed for a mistrial. That request was denied. NBC News legal analyst Misty Marris joining us now. Okay, so Misty, let's start with today's testimony. That psychologist laying out the conscious decisions, what he calls the conscious decisions that Lindsay Clancy made to kill her children, right? Why would those choices be very important to the prosecution's case now? And the level of awareness, this has been the crux of the case the whole time.
It is the ultimate issue of the case, what the jury needs to decide. So prosecutors have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Lindsay Clancy knew that what she was doing was wrong and could conform her actions to the law, meaning control herself. So what Dr. Heilbrun went through yesterday was talking about Lindsay Clancy has no history of abuse. She didn't even like yelling at her children. She would feel bad. Patrick had told him this in interviews. So what would be her motive to do this? And he came up with two alternatives. One is what's called altruistic filicide, that she would commit the murder because she needed to commit suicide. Her life was out of control, and she thought the kids would be better off taking them with her because she didn't want to leave them without a mother, or command hallucinations, which, by the way, where did we hear this before? From the defense expert. Right. But this prosecution rebuttal witness said the command hallucinations, as she described it, would be highly unlikely, and that could be something that is fabricated and that he is skeptical of. So to your question, all of that matters because the idea is that she knew in those moments what she was doing was wrong. And that was the focus and what prosecutors needed to get on the record in order to establish their case.
Misty, a second ago, same psychologist, we heard those questions about suicide and faith that the judge immediately told the jury to disregard. I guess the question is, why did this come up in the first place? And he chose not to declare a mistrial. But what was the thinking going on here?
Yeah, so that was the second time that we heard the same thing, Catholicism and a mortal sin. Prosecutors bringing it up with Sue Clancy, Patrick Clancy's father. By the way, highly inappropriate, objectively against the rules. Now it came up through a prosecution expert with regard to communications he had with Lindsay Clancy in his interviews and why she committed suicide, speaking, I think, to the wrongfulness of the conduct. As a Catholic, it's a mortal sin. Highly inappropriate. The judge immediately pulling the lawyers to a sidebar, dismissing the jury, and telling the jury to disregard that. He didn't grant a mistrial. Right. That is the most extreme way to go. If there's a curative instruction that works, the court's going to take that action, and that's what happened here. But an appellate issue for sure.
And we'll see if it discredits the prosecution in the process. Thank you very much, Misty Marris.
Thank you, Misty.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.